Okay, think about every great achievement, right? Building a skyscraper, launching a brand new app. They all start as just an idea, a vision. But how do you get from that spark of genius to an actual, tangible reality? Well, the answer is a discipline that's kind of part art, part science, project management. So, let's dive into this masterclass on how we can really make things happen.
You know, this quote just nails it. A vision without a plan? That's just a daydream. And on the flip side, a team working their butts off without a clear goal? That's just chaos. Project management is that crucial bridge. It's the thing that gives structure to all that creativity and gives purpose to all that action.
And that really is the million-dollar question, isn't it? How do you build that bridge? It's what separates the real innovators from the wishful thinkers. The good news is, the solution lies in a set of really powerful universal principles that you can apply to pretty much any goal you want to achieve.
All right, Section 1, the project's blueprint. To build that bridge, we have to start with the fundamentals. So first, we're going to look at the actual DNA of a project, what makes it tick, and what sets it apart from just regular work. So what exactly is a project? The definition seems simple, but the power is in two little words: temporary and unique. Now, temporary is easy. It just means every project has a clear start and a clear end. Think about it. The project to build the Hoover Dam was temporary, even though the dam itself is, still very much there. And unique means it creates something new. Even if you're building 500 houses that look the same, it's still a project, because every plot of land, every team, every single day introduces something new and different. This table really spells out the difference. Think of it like this. Projects are all about driving change. They're special initiatives, like launching a new marketing campaign. Operations, on the other hand, are about keeping the lights on. It's the day-to-day repetitive stuff, like processing payroll every month. So one is actively creating the future, while the other is all about sustaining the present.
Okay, now this is probably the most famous concept in all of project management, the iron triangle. It's this constant juggling act between three things: your scope, that's what you're building; your time, when it's due; and your cost, how much it's all going to cost. And the golden rule is simple. You can't change one of these without messing with the others. So let's say you're told to launch a new app by Friday, but a key feature is super buggy. What do? Do you cut the feature to hit the deadline? That's sacrificing your scope for time. Or do you delay the launch to fix it? Well, now you're sacrificing time for scope. There's no magic answer here, just tough choices.
And when that balancing act goes, let's say, spectacularly wrong, well, you get a story like the Sydney Opera House. It's one of the most iconic buildings on the planet, but from a project management perspective, it's a legendary cautionary tale.
How bad was it? Get this, the final cost was over 14 times the original budget. 14! How does that even happen? Well, it happened because the project was so groundbreaking, so unique, that the technology they needed to build those incredible shell-like roofs, it didn't even exist when they started. They completely underestimated that unique part of the project definition, and the iron triangle it collapsed under the pressure.
So, to avoid a disaster like that, you need a map. And it turns out, pretty much every single project, I don't care if you're building an opera house or just planning a wedding, follows the same universal 5-step life cycle. It's the logical journey that takes you from that first spark of an idea all the way to the finished product.
And you can see this in action with one of the greatest projects in human history, the Apollo 11 mission. Kennedy's 1961 speech, that was the ultimate initiating phase. He authorized the whole thing. Then came years of intense planning, figuring out how in the world to get to the moon and back safely. Executing was all that incredible engineering, building the Saturn V rockets. Monitoring, that was mission control in Houston, tracking every single detail. And closing, that was one small step for man, a perfect and totally monumental example. Okay, Section 2, the human landscape. Here's the thing. Even a project as technical as the moon landing was, at its heart, a human endeavor. A project plan is totally useless without people to make it happen, right? And those people all work within these complex company structures. And that environment, it has a huge impact on how much a project manager can actually get done. This table kind of breaks it down. In a traditional functional company, the department head has all the power. The project manager basically has to go and persuade them to borrow their people. In a projectized company, think of a movie set. The project manager is the undisputed boss. Simple. But most companies these days are a matrix, a hybrid, where the project manager is always negotiating,
The key takeaway? You have to know what kind of political landscape you're playing on.
And it's not just about your direct team either. It's about everyone who has a stake in the game. The definition of a stakeholder is really, really broad on purpose. We're talking about your customer, your sponsor, a government regulator, even the community that lives next to your construction site. Basically, it's anyone who can affect your project or will be affected by it.
So how in the world do you manage all those different people with different needs? Well, there's a simple but super powerful tool called the Power/Interest Grid. You literally map everyone out. Your main sponsor, they've got high power and high interest, so you manage them closely. Daily updates the works. A government agency, high power but maybe low interest. You just need to keep them satisfied, make sure you're ticking all the boxes. And what about your actual users? Low power but super high interest. Your job is to keep them informed and get them excited. See? Suddenly you have a clear communication plan for every single person involved.
All right, on to Section 3, getting the green light. Now, before anyone spends a single dollar or assigns a single person to your big idea, every project has to answer one crucial question. Why should we do this project instead of all the other things we could be doing? Answering that question is the job of the business case. It's the formal justification that proves your project is actually worth the investment.
$4 billion. Back in 2009, that's the bet Disney made. They put together a business case to buy Marvel Entertainment. And this wasn't just some simple purchase. It was the start, the initiation of a massive project that would span decades.
And here's where the genius of their business case comes in. That $4 billion, it wasn't just to make more Iron Man movies. No. The real value was plugging Marvel's entire universe of characters into Disney's global machine. They were thinking about theme park rides, consumer products, video games, TV shows, the whole shebang. The movies were just the engine, not the final destination. Now that is a powerful business case.
So, after that quick tour, let's talk about the PM's Kit Toolkit. What are the big takeaways? We've really unpacked 4 powerful frameworks that add up to a practical toolkit you can use to turn your own vision into reality.
First, you've got the iron triangle. This is your constant gut check, right? It's there to help you balance the trade-offs between scope, time, and cost.
Next up, the 5-step life cycle. Think of this as your reliable roadmap. It guides you logically from that initial idea through all the planning and doing, all the way to the finish line.
Then there's the power grid. This is your political map. It's what helps you navigate that complex human landscape by giving you a clear strategy to deal with every single person who has a stake in your success.
And finally, the business case. This is your sales pitch. It's the tool you use to justify the investment and prove with cold, hard strategy that your idea is the one worth betting on.
Because when you boil it all down, that's what this is all about. Your next big idea? It's a project. Every single goal, every ambition you have is just a project waiting to get started. You now have the foundational tools, so the only real question left is, are you ready to lead it?